Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So we pick off our lesson on monitoring and evaluation framework, still your M&E framework, and we will show you some practical tools that you can possibly apply and use for your final presentation and submission. So I'll take you just through a few so we've thoroughly and completely addressed everybody's problems. And if we can have an interactive session with people showing us how they've plotted it out or how they've drawn it. All right, so here is the M&E framework, and here is an example of how it goes. All right, so M&E is something that you should have already conceptualized and you should have already done some kind of planning for. That is why we said in our almost beginning slides, we talked about the difference between monitoring and the difference between evaluation. And we actually told that you could do some kinds of analysis, and needs analysis or a baseline. So at that time of assessing, okay, you either conduct a situation analysis, a response analysis, stakeholder needs, resource analysis, collaboration plans. Okay, so it's going to sit in a framework, but the framework should have already been planned. So what are the key constituents of an M&E framework or logical framework? You have inputs, you've got activities. Activities lead you to an output, which is a result. Now, after we've achieved these results, in the short term, we need to see some kind of changes to our target group or beneficiaries. And we also need to look at maybe some kind of, we also look at the long-term changes, okay, which we call impacts. So at an input level, whatever desired business or NGO, you put in staff, funds, materials, facilities, maybe supplies, depending what your project is. And what do we expect to see at activities? Training, services provided, educating, treatments, interventions. It's doing words. Or should we call them verbs, actions that you take, because now you've got the resource, you've put the input, now you need to conduct these activities. So in the short term, it is just an output is just a result. So if you train staff, the output you expect is the number of staff trained. If you provide for instance a service, maybe it's the number of people the number of people receiving that service. Okay, the materials past, maybe the number of materials received. Okay, this is the kind of things that we expect to see. These are just examples. This was based on an example from my church, but here we can say number of materials received. Okay, facilities or treatments. For us, it was, you could say, number of people tested. Okay, supplies and interventions. Okay, so now in the short term of your training, we expect to see some kind of changes in behavior. Okay, if we see funds and services provided, maybe we can see some kind of change in behavior. Okay, we can see now in the short term that the effect of using of these materials received, okay, is maybe people opting for a service they would never have opted for. So this is what we expect to do, short term, long term. I'm sure this is making sense to you. So let's carry on. So today when we come into the class, we need to just be aware of, if this is what we do, what result do we expect to see? Okay.